South Carolina Congressman James Clyburn is Assistant Minority Leader in the House. He joins us this morning from Providence, Rhode Island. Congressman Clyburn, thank you very much for being with us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
What kind of strings do you think should be attached to raising the debt limit, if any? I mean, John Boehner said that there would have very big strings attached. What do you think the Republicans would attach to that?
Well, I don't know what they've got in mind, but I think that what the president is going to lay out for the country, I think it's on Wednesday, I think that would be a good starting point. I believe he's going to propose a comprehensive approach to bringing down our debt and going toward eliminating these deficits, and he will have an approach that will deal with revenues as well as expenditures. And so that may be a good starting point to latch on to the debt ceiling.
Well, Congressman, it's interesting. Republicans have signaled that they will again, like they did with this budget for 2011 that came down to the wire on Friday, fundamental changes, perhaps in health care policy and the environment over the abortion debate again, in exchange for their support on raising this debt ceiling. Are those concessions a reality for Democrats, that you might have to make these concessions in order to get this done?
Well, I would hope that the Republicans would stop all of this charade dealing with these rioters or these idealistic approaches to governance, and let's get to the issue of bringing down the debt, eliminating these deficits, and putting our house on a fiscal sound footing. That's what the people would like to see of us. We can have all of these ideological debates at some other time in some other way. None of that should be tied to the budgets. We should be working on getting people back to work. Here we are, 100 days now, come April 14th, and they have not brought forth one single job-creating piece of legislation. So that's what we ought to be doing here. People don't want us arguing over what should or should not be their moral underpinnings.
Right, Congressman Clyburn, the Republicans will say, however, that by stopping the government from spending, by trying to control the debt, John Boehner said it Friday night when they had that deal. They said this is good for jobs. Now, you said that you think the president's going to be dealing with expenditures and revenues. The Republicans hear that as code for tax, and they say this is not a revenue problem. This is a spending problem. I know you're not going to agree with that, but the reality is we can't be going down to the wire like we were on Friday night every time the Democrats and Republicans and the Tea Partiers don't agree. So what's the plan going forward?
Well, my plan going forward will be, let's get rid of these subsidies for big oil companies. That is $40 to $50 billion revenue there. Let's get rid of these tax breaks to people who are creating jobs overseas. That's another significant $25 to $30 billion, if I believe all the experts. So that would be revenue, and that's revenue that people would like to see us bring into to our coffers. If we are still arguing about the tax rates, 35% corporate tax rates, so what does it matter if it's 75%, if you've got 35 corporations that are paying zero taxes? So that's what I mean by comprehensive, and I think that's what the president is going to be talking about when he talks about revenues and expenditures. He's going to be talking about closing these loopholes. Right. He's going to be talking about getting rid of these subsidies and putting our fiscal house in order.
But the debt ceiling is $14 trillion. It takes a lot of $50 billion cuts to get there, and you still have to fund the government. I mean, that debt limit is what we have already spent. If it's not raised, we can't borrow more money to keep ourselves going. And in the global capital markets, very big concern, the image that the United States is projecting here. We've just raised it and raised it and raised it and raised it. Are you saying that you think there's bipartisan support to figure out how to stop doing that?
Yes, I am saying that. I was there under the Clinton administration when we did, in fact, eliminate the deficit, and we did, in fact, started growing the revenues, and he left office with this $260 billion surplus. So I know it can be done. I was there as a part of doing it before.
A booming
And if it's been
economy
done
sure
before,
helps, doesn't it? It sure helps when the economy just booms gangbusters. That helped in the Clinton administration, and we can only certainly hope.
well,
Yeah, finish your thoughts,
well,
sir.
we aren't going gangbusters. We aren't going gangbusters yet, but we've created 1.8 million new jobs in the last 13 months, and I think that's moving in the right direction, as opposed to 2.1. I'm sorry?
No, just to get you on the record with it, if Republicans do try to bring in health care, the EPA, or abortion this time, will you vote against the bill to raise the debt ceiling?
Well, I'll look at the bill in a comprehensive way. I'm not going to vote to eliminate health care reform, because we didn't just eliminate health care reform. We pushed the deficit reduction that's in that plan as well. And we should not go back to discriminating against people with pre-existing conditions and to getting people kicked off their health insurance policies as soon as they get real sick. That's not what a compassionate government ought to be about.
All right. Well, it's good to get your thoughts this morning, Congressman James Clyburn. Thanks so much for joining us.